This podcast is intended for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised. Out of the Ashes presents Missing Dad.
I might have ended up on the wrong side of the tracks if Pops wouldn't have pulled me back and said, yo.
Each episode is a thought-provoking interview with people across all walks of life to see how they were affected by missing key pieces in their relationship with their
I
dad.
told him as a youngster, he'll be the greatest man alive.
And now your hosts, Coley Harris and Amar Melton.
Welcome to another episode of Missing Dad. I'm your co-host, Coley Harris.
I'm the other co-host, Amar Melton.
We're just thankful to be back here on this Saturday afternoon, and we have with us a very special guest, Mr. Would you like to introduce yourself, brother?
How you doing? My name is Daryl Kelly, also known OD, Dusty, you know.
Glad to have you here, brother. Took you a little late. I think we were supposed to start at like 10:30. That was the time that we had.
When people so important and they don't send you their address until 10:15, 10:20 the day of, the morning of.
I forgot, bro. But anyway, glad to have you here.
Glad to be here, man.
Man. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, brother?
Well, of course, my name is Daryl. I'm 44 years old. Grew up in the projects, all three sides, Riverside, Bucket, 2-6. Right now, I'm a ASSA certified traffic control supervisor, working with the Union Local 199, 5 kids, 3 grandkids, 2 dogs.
Don't forget the 2 dogs.
You gotta count the dogs.
But, I've been trying to get on this podcast for a while now, and ever since, big bro, nephew was, started it, finally, they graced me with their presence.
Oh, man.
Look at it.
To allow me the honor of being on this podcast.
We're definitely excited to have you. You two have known each other for a while. I've known you for quite some time, but I don't know you as well as my pop. How long have y'all two known each other?
I met your pop in 1992. 92?
Maybe. How old was you?
12.
Yeah. Around that.
92. Yeah.
11, 12, 91, 92. Probably around the same year you was born.
Yeah.
Now to think about it. Yep.
Like 92. Because you went to jail in 94, 93.
93 and 94.
Yeah, you went to jail in 93, came home.
Yeah.
No, I met you in 93.
No. I knew you before that.
You went to jail in 94.
No, I went to jail the first time in 93.
You went to jail the first time for the stuff in the bucket. Then you came home.
No.
92. Then you came home.
Yeah, I knew you for. Nigga, I knew you. Listen, I know how to count. Let's start there. Mathematics.
It's been a long time.
It's been a long time. I knew you since you was about 12 years old.
Yeah.
Young brother, man, growing up in the neighborhood. I mean, back then, I was, I went to, everybody know, part of our whole platform is, the fact that I went to prison and the separation with me and my son. But, back then I was, a young boy in the streets, mixing, and met this young fella. Didn't really know who he was that day. We got a different connection, but I didn't really know who he was back then. Living. How was it growing up? How was it growing up? Let me ask you that. How was it growing up around in that era, around that time? In the neighborhood that you grew up in.
For me, things was, I grew up Riverside, 7 Junction Drive. Then we moved to 2411 Barrett Street. Things was good until crack hit. Things was real good until crack hit. Crack hit and took my family by storm. My mom started getting high, and electric bill might have been $2,000-$3,000. And at that time, when your electric get cut off, you don't get it cut on, the boards come up. And I remember coming home on my 11th birthday. On my 11th birthday, and I was on a school bus, and boy, rest in peace, J-Rock, he was like, yo, don't even look over there. look out the school bus window and I see all my stuff on the curb. It's my birthday, mind you. So he was back then on the buses we had like a safety patrol. You know what I mean? Where the little orange thing, like he was the captain of the safety patrol.
Who was?
J-Rock. So
not Beast.
Yeah, he was the safety patrol. So he used to make sure everybody stayed seated on the bus and all that. And the bus driver might give him $2 or something like that. You know what I mean? And he school time, they give him an ice cream sandwich. Like he was the guy that made sure everybody got on the correct bus and all that. So he was like, we're not getting off on this stop. We're going to get off on the next stop. Because all the other kids was laughing and, you know what I mean, making fun of me. So we got off on the next stop, which was 27th and Barrow Street. And we walked to the store, and he brought me a Huggy and a bag of chips, told me happy birthday, and he was like, yo, we're going to walk this way. So we walked all the way down Claymont Street and came down 24th Street and went in his back door. And his mom was there, and she was like, I ain't seen your mom, but you can stay here until your honor somebody come get you. And I was like, well, where's my brother at? Because my brother Weeze, he had got off before us. He got out of school before us because he was in a different grade. And she said he got off and he went across the highway to your aunt's. My aunt was living across the highway in a bucket. So I was like, all right, well, I'm ready to walk over there. I was like, oh, but I can't. I had to wait for Gert. I had to wait for her bus. And then when Gert came, you know, my mom, she never came. So I ended up staying with J-Rock and them for probably like 2 weeks. My aunt, Weeze, he was still over there. My aunt, I guess they was like, you know what I mean? Nobody came and got me and Gert. You know what I mean? And then my grandma came, and I didn't want to go out there. She was living on Newcastle. But she was working at Chrysler all her life. You know what I mean? Had a nice house and all that out in Newcastle. So me and my sister ended up going out there. My brother still stayed over the bucket. And my mom finally came back. She came and got us. And we went and started staying with my cousin Zenda on 26th Street. And that's when I met this guy. Yeah.
How about it?
Can I say how I met you? Or we're going to let that be? Because it was interesting.
Yeah, go ahead.
You can say it. We need to chop it out.
Yeah.
I was asleep on the couch. I wake up and I look. And I see some guys sitting at the table. Bagging up. So I act like I was still asleep, but I'm peeking. You know what I mean? They in there, they got their nice sneaks on, you know what I mean? And they talk, and I'm like, get down with these guys. So, you know what I mean? They used to come there, do their thing all the time. And I just like, yo, what's up, man? Let me, you know what I mean? Man, get out of here, boy. I'm talking about they would never, ever give me a pack. I'm talking about I used to beg them. Please, man, I know what I'm doing. This and that. Keep in mind, my mom getting high. I'm living in a crack house. Barely eating. I mean, they would give us money to get something to eat and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But it was rough. And keep in mind, I'm only 11, 12 at the time, so I'm a baby. And, you know, now you see somebody that's 12-year-old, they look like they about 20. When I was 11 and 12, I looked like I was probably like 7. You know what I mean? I was a little scrawny little dude, you know what I mean? One of the guys said, here, don't say nothing. And it was on from there.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, but it was a lot. But the difference between growing up then and growing up now is they had respect, they had morals, they had loyalty. Now, keep in mind, it was some shady characters, you know what I mean? But you knew who the shady characters was. You know what I mean? It wasn't a lot of this backdoor stuff, a lot, like, I mean, it was going on, but not at the rate that it is today. These young guys these days, compared to when we was young, whew.
Yeah, I think about that time and that era, you know what I mean, and just, you know what I mean, back on you and that situation. And I had plenty of time to sit back and think about looking at all that. Because I could remember. I remember days, you know what I mean, moving around, moving through the house, doing whatever you was doing, right? And it was always a lot of, not a lot, yeah. It was always a lot of little eyes around.
Mm-hmm.
Young people always seeing, you know what I'm saying, seeing everything that people doing and how people moving. And when you get older, you know, and think back, I look at, you know, myself like when you was younger or my grandkids, like, damn, they the same age that I was when I was doing X, Y, and Z, you know what I'm saying? It's hard for me to even conceive of that, man. But one of the things that I always think about in processing this, and I don't want to go off on no tangent, but I always sit back and think about, like, what impact, you know what I mean, an individual have on another person's life. Like how did my interaction with you impact your life? Do you think it was better off or worse?
It was better off. I say that because, like, even though you was young and you was doing what you was doing, you was smart. You know what I'm saying? And you showed me like a camaraderie, like a brotherhood, like a love. You showed me love where I wasn't getting at home. You know, I come out there with y'all and I would feel love. And even though we was doing wrong, it seemed right. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I can't say that at that age I was ignorant, because I wasn't. I knew right from wrong. I knew what I was doing, and I knew why I was doing it. You know what I mean? If I didn't do it, you know what I mean, me and my sister, we gonna go hungry. I'm gonna have holes in my sneaks. I'm still going to school. You know what I mean? Y'all upset, man, you gotta go to school. Y'all made sure I went to school. Y'all made sure I went home at a certain time. But if I was out there, and y'all looked out for me, you know, so you helped me. You know what I mean? And I say that because even, you probably don't remember this, but when you went to jail, you sent me a letter. It was like 2 pages long. And I read this letter. I had the letter for years too. I don't know where it's at now, but I had it for years. But the letter was like, it made me cry because you really cared, you know what I mean? And you was telling me, yo, man, I know you out there and this and this and this, but you wrote down names and everything. Stay away from these guys. These guys ain't no good for you. I heard that you hanging with this guy. This guy gonna use you. Like, you basically broke down the game, and you apologize for your actions, but it was more of, man, that's big bro. Like, you know what I mean? And I'm reading the letter, and then I gave the letter to Butter, and we reading the letter, then I was like, yo, how much money you got on? I was like, $25. He was like, I got $25. We rode straight up to the check cashing place, got you a money order, sent you the money order. We was like, we was young. We was like 13, 14, you know what I mean? And it's crazy because all them people that got locked up, I got locked up. My dad came and got me. I never made a statement, nothing. And I was the youngest out of everybody. You know what I mean? And for the love that you showed to all these guys, for them to, like, turn around and stab you in the back with the betrayal of their loyalty. See, I realized by watching your mistakes what not to do. It made me smarter, seeing that, damn, that was a part of the game that I didn't see, but I saw at that age that you can't even trust your best friend. You can't even trust somebody that you slept in the same bed with, that you done double team girls with, that you done gave your last, and then you know what I mean, broke bread with. You can't trust this person because a man is always going to secure his future before yours. And everybody at some point in their life is loyal, but at what cost? You know what I mean? Like,
kind of where does it end?
Yeah,
that self-preservation kick in.
Yeah.
That part. You know what I mean? And it was crazy because, do you ever think, I always wanted to ask you this, if you didn't go to jail,
like, what would have happened to me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think about it. I've thought about it. I don't think I'd be here.
Because you was a free child running wild.
I I don't think I would have been here, not looking at how things was playing out in that time. You know, I wouldn't have stopped off the course that I was on.
But God had a purpose.
God always got a purpose.
That's
God
our
always
God.
got a plan.
Mhm.
Absolutely. So I think that, you know, I believe everything happens for a reason. You know, I don't you know what I mean, applaud, you know what I mean, being locked up or being away from my son for all those years or the crime that I committed.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, you know what I mean, it doesn't escape me that I'm here 51 years old, you know what I mean, with an older son and a baby son now and grandchildren and have lived my life, you know what I mean, before prison, you know what I mean, time in prison and then having been home. But another man didn't have that opportunity because basically at the time I didn't have my shit together. So that stuff it weighs on me, you know what I mean? I don't forget that, you know what I mean? And I live my life according to that. Just trying to be responsible for these you know what I mean, these years that I get on this earth, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And using them to the best of my ability.
That part.
But also remembering you know what I mean, all the other, you know what I mean, youngers that was around. And you know what I mean, all the stuff that I taught y'all the best that I knew.
Yeah.
I ain't, you know what I mean, I ain't gonna say I didn't absolutely know no better, but I taught y'all the best that I knew in the aspect of the life that we was living. You know
You
what I
taught
mean,
me
the
to
choice
think.
that we made. Yeah. You had to.
Yeah. You got to be a thinker.
You got to think. If you ain't thinking and processing and you know what I mean, the environment around you, you're gonna get chewed the fuck up every time.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned your dad came to get you after you got booked. What was your relationship like with your pop around this time, or what was your relationship like with your pop in your younger years, just in general?
Okay, so I met my pop when I was 8. I met him when I was 8. And like my dad always knew who I was, but I didn't know who he was.
Right.
You know, I always thought that my sister's dad was my dad because he raised me. You know, and his family took me in, you know what I mean? They called me, you know what I mean, had nicknames for me and all that. They used to come get me and all that. But my brother, my older brother, and my Aunt Debbie, that's my brother's godmom. But on holidays, my Aunt Debbie will come and bring my brother all these gifts on Christmas and, you know what I mean, stuff like that, school clothes. Well, she would give my mom money for school clothes. And she would give my mom presents and money for Easter and things of that nature. The whole time, though, it was coming from my dad, for me. But my mom didn't want my sister's dad to know that this was actually somebody else's son because she was sneaking with my dad, but messing with my sister's dad.
Right.
So my cousin Polo took me. We was walking up Randall Avenue one day. He was like, "Come on, I gotta take you somewhere." We walking up Randall Avenue. I thought we were like 8, but we were different type of 8s. And we live all the way in the bucket. I was still living in Riverside. But we walking up Randall Avenue. He was like, "Yo, Uncle Sonny, you know who this is?" So this man, short guy, come downstairs and he was like, "Yeah." Gave me a hug. "What's up?" I'm like, "What's up?" Polo was like, "Who this nigga?" He was like, "That's your dad." Now Polo 9, I'm 8. He done been sitting around listening to my aunts and them talking, because my Aunt Debbie used to come over to my Aunt Yvonne's house. You know, they drinking their beer, smoking their weed, and they talking. And Polo's supposed to be upstairs asleep, but he's standing at the step listening. Oh, you know what I mean? And I'm looking, I'm like, now I'm confused. I'm shocked. I takes off running. I run home. Mom, this man, Randall Avenue talking about, that's my dad. She was like, "Shh, come here. How you know what I mean? Like, what are you talking? I'm like, yeah, he talking about he my dad and this and this and this." She was like, "Come on." We walked to Randall Avenue. He's sitting on the step drinking his beer, him and his boy, I think it was Rayfield. It was a couple of them. They sitting outside, so you see her, his eyes like light up, and so she like, "Come here." He was like, "Now y'all come in." We go in the house, and she introduced it. Hey, this your dad. Like, you know what I mean? So now I'm like, looking at her like, what? So he was like, we going to the Baltimore Harbor this weekend. You know what I mean? I want to take you. She looked at me. I was like, Baltimore? I ain't never left Wilmington.
Right.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So that weekend he came, you know what I mean, came and got me. We went to the Baltimore Harbor, you know what I mean? Brought me a couple outfits, some sneaks. Me, Neen, and Dre, we had our own room at the hotel, and we had a good time. Went to the aquarium, everything.
Yeah.
Me, Miss Gail, my dad, Neen, Dre, you know, we had a wonderful time. I come home, got my clothes, got my new K-Swiss, you know what I mean? So my mom stopped me at the door. Tell them that if anybody asks you, you say that you and Sean Polo stayed around the corner at Christine's with Lawrencey, and Lawrencey took y'all shopping. That's where, yeah, it's something called parental tapes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's where my trust for women came from, right there. Oh man, women are liars. Like, you know what I mean? I can't even tell my dad that I can't tell my dad that I was with my dad. So I had two dads. Like, growing up, I had two dads. Even to this day, my father, my biological father, Sonny, passed away. But my other father, he's still alive, and I still call him Pop. Hey, Pop, what's up? You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
But when my mom fell short, my dad was there. Sonny took me fishing. I lived with him. I got in trouble. I called him. He come get me. You know, school, everything. Like even to this day, right now, if something was to happen, I can go to his wife, Miss Gail, Mom. I go there, and I be like, yeah, I need a room. All right, well, it won't be no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yeah.
Never. Like, she's a strong woman because he was messing with Miss Gail, sneaking with my mom. You know what I'm saying? And you know, you get that, you know, sometimes that's a bastard. Get him away from it. No. Bring him. Come on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And she never, ever treated me different than she treated her own kids. It was never a time where I was living there and I felt like, oh, she treat them better than me because I ain't her son. And no, when she gave them $5, she gave me $5. When she bought them sneaks, she bought me sneaks. When you know what I mean? It was never a time, ever. And the only time my dad ever put his hands on me is when I disrespected her. I thought I could do something. He hit me like 80 times. He hit me like 80 times in like 3 minutes. I had lumps. I'm talking about, but it was because of respect.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned a valuable lesson that day because all the things that she did for me, she didn't have to do none.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question now that I think about it. So you said with your mom, you know what I mean, the situation that happened with your mom. And I know, you know what I mean, now your relationship with your mom is way different.
Mm-hmm.
But like how did you two things. How did y'all process that, you know what I mean, the struggle that you went through growing up with your mom later on in life? Because, you know, I'm going to digress a little bit. Just as a man, I remember I used to judge my pop, you know what I mean, harshly growing up when I was younger because I felt like he didn't do certain things, you know what I mean, that I wanted or needed from him or whatever. But when I got older and just started living life a little bit more, living life and being seasoned and then have my own challenges, have my own child, and have my own shortcomings, that's when I started to, you know what I mean, look at my pop and just my life in general through a different lens. So, I mean, years down the line now where you're at and having had your own challenges, your own shortcomings and stuff like that, how did that impact your relationship with your mom?
Now, keep in mind, my sister's dad, my dad too, he was very, 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 very abusive. Very abusive. I used to sit back and, like, wonder why, you know what I mean? No, as like adults, they got different. You don't realize a lot of stuff as a child until you get older and you look back at stuff. You be like, oh man, you really was something else. Like, oh, okay, you know what I mean? But this nigga had a whole nother family across town. I'm talking about a whole nother family across town. And as you get older, I say, you start seeing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I done been to these people's house and everything, and the whole time, these kids is really my brothers and sisters. This is like his whole other family. But I never knew that. But guess who did know? Gert. That was him and Gert's secret. Him and Gert had that secret. Me and my mom had our secret. You know? It wasn't right, you know, but it was what it was. That's right. My baby, you know what I mean? And I respected her because she didn't have to walk me back across the highway that day. Mm-hmm. She could have said that he didn't know what he was talking about. That ain't your dad, and don't go over there no more. And I would have never went over there again. Yeah. She walked back over there and said, okay, it is what it is, just your dad. But you still going to respect this man. You still going to call him, you know what I mean? Because up to this point, this was your dad. Right. You know what I mean? And I did. But I always knew that my mom was strong. Always thought my mom was strong because of all of the stuff that she went through, you know, being physically abused, mentally abused, and I think she used crack as a scapegoat to overcome and get through the harsh reality of being in an abused relationship with a man that constantly beat her, constantly talked to her like she was nothing, but had a whole another family across town that you know about, but you still trying to keep this family together. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Dude ain't worth a cup of spit, but you holding on for the sake of your children because, no, it wasn't just me. I got an older brother, Weeze. It was all three of us. We call this man dad. You know what I mean? Same thing with Weeze. That ain't his dad. But Weeze ain't know that until Weeze was probably like 15. You know? Yeah. So, I mean, she did all of this and held everything together. So, even though, you know, the crack epidemic tore my family apart, it also made her stronger in some ways because...
What you mean, like from the adversity, just going through the adversity of it?
Yeah, and knowing like, okay, you know your mom strung out on drugs, right? But she'd still go to KFC and come back with a 2-piece, huh? Both of y'all get a piece of chicken. You know what I mean? Like, and she ain't got no job, she ain't working, she ain't doing nothing, but she smoking coke all day. But she still find some type of way to say, huh, I only got $2, but here. And it's like, you know what?
Did what she could.
Yeah.
I'm going to get me some money, and I'm going to make sure, you know what I mean, my mom ain't got the, you know what I mean? And it's crazy because when I was selling drugs, as crazy as it sounds, I would just give my mom drugs. Here. Just because I didn't want my mom out there being a prostitute, stealing people pack, doing anything for the drug because I know that she had an addiction, and I knew with what comes with that addiction because as a young boy, I'm 12, getting hid from grown women. I wasn't even coming yet, and I'm still like, you know what I mean? Because this is what they're doing for this drug. Mm-hmm. People, grown men giving me their cars to drive. I don't got a license. I can't even see over the steering wheel.
Right.
But they want this drug so bad here. You know what I mean? So I know what she went through. You know what I mean? And this man beat my mom with a pole And my mom was in the hospital for weeks. Like, he almost killed her. You know what I mean? And guess why he beat her with the pole? Because she moved on, because she finally got tired of this family around the corner. Okay, you got her. We just got put out over here because the electric bill that I didn't, you know what I mean? Because you ain't playing your part, but you got this one over across town. They living good. And you getting money. But you introduced my mom to drugs. It was just a lot, man. And I never disrespected my mom. Like, you know how some people see their mothers out here doing things and they just like lose respect for them and all that. I never lost respect for my mother ever. I always gave my mom the utmost respect, and I would never let nobody disrespect my mom. You know what I'm saying? Okay, she do what she do, but that's still my mom.
Right.
And I always have respect for other people's mother.
Right.
Even though they do what they do, that's still somebody's mom. You know what I mean? And I learned some of these qualities from this man, because even though we were out there doing what we was doing, you still got to have a certain type of respect for people, because in a community like that, when you're doing wrong, that community protects you.
That's a fact.
You know what I mean?
Fact.
When them police pop that curve, you got to have somewhere to run.
That's a fact.
You don't got no project house, but you in the projects all day. So these people that do live in this area, you got to make sure that they are all right. You got to make sure that their kids are all right. And they're going to protect you. The police is coming. Now they don't even do that. Riverside, you can't even sit on nobody's step. They don't want you sitting on a step because they don't protect the community. The kids, ice cream truck come. Hey, y'all, go ahead and get whatever y'all want off the ice cream truck. Just little simple stuff. You know, kids come out, you know what I mean, school time. Now, you know, all summer, every time their mom got their check or she got paid, she came and spent everything with you. School time coming, you know the kids ain't going to have nothing. What's a little $100 to go buy 2 kids a pair of sneaks? Because you know that they start school and you know that their mom done spent all their money with you, or maybe not you, somebody else down the street. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it's all about taking care of the ones that take care of you.
Yeah.
Because when them police come and you ain't got nowhere to run, they grabbing you. And 9 times out of 10 back then, it was packs everywhere. Whatever they found was yours. You know? So you had to have a back door or two to go in. You know? And it was times where you didn't have a door, but if you ran into my house and they ain't see you go in there, they never said, get out of here. No. Here you go, auntie, huh?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, that's why they started. If somebody run in your house, they give that person that ran in your house like a robbery charge or something like that, or breaking and entering. And if they catch them in your house, they putting you out. You know what I mean? So then they started like, don't run in here. I ain't losing my unit. But the ones that you took care of didn't really care. Did they see you come in here, baby? All right, just go ahead and sit down.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that, man. It's because we, you know, Miss Carolyn just passed away. And I think about her, and I think I was telling you last week. I remember a time we was warring down that motherfucker, and Mom always kept her door open. You know what I'm saying? She was one of the ones. You know, it's others. You know what I mean? Like you said, it's others. You know what I mean? Miss Deb, Miss Sharon. You know what I mean? I can go down the list. You know what I mean? Up there from 2-6. But they would keep their doors open and let you come in there. You know what I'm saying? And it's yeah, you bringing back a lot of memories, man.
Not just coming there. Like, you know, I told you I lived in a crack house, so I mean, I had to sleep one eye open, and then when they closed, it was over with. They cut your pockets. You know what I mean? If you had it in your shoe, in your balls, wherever you had it, they was getting it. So one day I was out there, I bust the window out, and Miss Carolyn was like, I don't know what you did that for. Look at you. You're crying again, you sucker. I'm like, what? She was like, busting the window ain't going to do nothing. They still going to get you when you go to sleep. Come on in here. I go in there, you know what I mean? I'm crying. I'm mad. She was like, listen, basically she didn't condone what I was doing because I told you I was a baby.
Mm-hmm.
But she said, before you go in, give me your money at night so they don't rob you. She was like, the drugs you hide outside somewhere. But you can give me the money and I'll put it up for you. And if I'm asleep, just put it in the mailbox. I said, what about Jai and people on the... She was like, throw a rock at the window and then put it in the mailbox and I come down and get it. I think she was messing with Fred Dog at the time. Or he'd come down and get it. I was like, oh, okay. So that's what I started doing.
This episode of the Missing Dad podcast is proudly sponsored by Breakthrough Inertia, empowering tomorrow's leaders one life at a time. Breakthrough Inertia addresses critical issues such as drug abuse, peer pressure, crime, and poverty, offering hope, love, and purpose to at-risk youth. What sets them apart? Their focus on connection. Through programs like their 12-week youth empowerment program and travel program, they foster resilience and essential skills in a nurturing environment. Plus, their 100-grand program turns youthful creativity into professional artistry, showcasing talents to high-end clients. Ready to make a difference? Visit breakthroughinertia.org or call 302-420-1108 today. Now, back to Missing Dad.
Started doing it. She got me too, though. I went to go buy a car. I go there. I think I had like $6,000. I go to buy a car. I got 2.
Yeah, something.
Yeah.
Hey, yo, so it sound like, man, from what I'm capturing from your story, it sound like from the ages of like 8 to 12, you probably seen more than most adults and experienced, a lot of hardship, adversity, and I'm thinking, just reflecting on my life, like being those ages, you probably had a lot of emotions that you couldn't even really articulate, and you wrestling with yourself, and then you come home from school and your stuff is outside, or you know what I mean, you got a dad here and you got a dad, and like being a child trying to process that stuff.
Yeah.
Going into your teenage years, man, how did all of those things mold you as a person?
It made me stronger.
Yeah.
It made me stronger. Don Juan. Coley went to jail. Don Juan took me under his wing. You know what I mean? And at this time, I was sleeping in abandoned houses down a bucket. Or I go over my boy Philip Stango house. I go to Stango house when Miss Darlene went to sleep, and I go in there and sleep. But yeah, like when Coley went to jail, like it was hard. Like, wasn't nobody giving me no pack. Wasn't nobody giving me, like, I couldn't, like, you know what I mean? So I basically was just out there fending for myself. You know what I mean? I go wait till about 1 in the morning. I bag up some fake stuff, sell it late night, trying to make some money, you know what I mean? And go sleep in an abandoned house, you know what I mean? Because in the projects, once somebody move out, the electric still be on for a while, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, and you know what I mean, Don Juan took me in, and it was a while before he gave me something. He wouldn't give me nothing for a long, long, long time, probably like a year. He was like, just go to school, man. I got you. He was like, just go to school. I'm talking about I was going to Brandywine, freshman Brandywine. I'm talking about I was the sharpest dude in school. Sharpest dude, like, you know what I mean? And he was messing with Star at the time, and she wasn't that much older than me. I didn't realize that until I got older, but she was like my mother, you know what I mean? It was like my pop. This is my new family, you know what I mean? She driving me to school in the BMW, you know what I mean? I'm like, man, I feel like Will Smith from, you know what I mean? I'm like, woo, you know what I mean? I got brand new sneaks on, polo down every day, you know what I mean? And he never, ever, 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 ever would give me drugs. I'm like, I can get some money too, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I know how to get some money. Like, nah, just go to school. This ain't for you. He used to say that. I reminded him Troy. I never met him. I never met Troy, but he used to say, you remind me of Troy X. He was like, I got you, man. Just go to school. You ain't got to, you know what I mean? I guess he seen something in me at the time that I didn't even see in myself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But as as you get older, your mindset is your mindset.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All right, man, I'm tired of taking care. I want to get some money because, all right, you taking care of me. I'm cool. But I still got a little sister that's out here struggling. You know what I mean? I got a brother that's struggling. I got a mother that's struggling. All right, I done moved to Beverly Hills with Uncle Phil. But in West Philly, my family's still struggling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was like, man, I got to get it. I turned 15. I came up with some money in Nert. I had an apartment on 4th Street. Well, Big Willis, Nert, one of them. J-Rock had just came home. And me and him went half and started moved in that apartment on 4th Street. Then he moved out. He got locked up. He moved out. And I moved my mom in there. We stayed there for a minute. And then ever since then, I always had my own.
Mm-hmm.
Always.
How old was you then?
15. Yeah. Then I went to jail when I was 16.
What'd you get locked up for?
I got caught with it was crazy, man. I had like 4.5 ounces. This was in that era where this was 96. This was in the era where booked up. Oh man, you could buy an ounce, a straight drop for about 800. Melt it down, put it in the pot, melt it down. Put about 2 ounces of bacon on there. Stir it back up. Put it in the freezer. Let it get hard. Once it get hard, you got 3 ounces. 2 of it's baked though.
Shoot.
But you know what I mean? Yeah. I was coming to serve somebody 4.5 ounces. And I get out the car. I'm walking. Solomon popped the curve. Poof, he pops the curve. Now, there was 2 other guys on the step. I try to run in the house with them. They closed the door on me. So I get to running. They chasing me. So I goes in the horseshoe, and I get to throwing my coat in the glove box, in the mailbox. Now it's about 4 or 5 people in the house. I'm throwing my stuff through the mailbox. My man opened the door. I runs in, close the door, boom, I take my stuff, I run upstairs, I get to hiding it. Everybody else now they was in there cooking up coke. I ran in the wrong house.
Oh, man. Jeez.
I'm talking about people got running out the house, throwing stuff everywhere. No. Now keep in mind, I'm 15? I was 15 at the time. I was the only minor in the house. It was all adults.
Right.
They stopped me and another adult. They caught him flushing his stuff down the toilet. It ain't flush. They take him in one room, take me in another room. They go downstairs, they find some stuff. They find a little bit of stuff outside. They never find my stuff. I had like 4.5 ounces. I hid it in the bedroom in the kids' clothes. They never found it. They charged me with everything in this house. Let the adult go. Locks me up.
Dang.
Yeah. So I goes to jail. My bail, I think it was like 25,000, something like that. I make bail. I come home, beat that adult real bad with a broomstick. I'm talking about real bad.
So you think he told on you?
Oh, I know he told. He definitely told on me. You know. Then I end up I end up going to court, and they offered me Theophilus Gregory. Boy, he said.
What they offer you?
It was a amenability hearing.
Oh, okay.
Where
you explain to them what that is.
Amenability hearing is a hearing that you have right before your trial to see if they're gonna try you as an adult or a juvenile. Mm-hmm. Like if you're found amenable charged as an adult. If you're found not amenable, you get, you know what I mean, you stay as a juvenile. So the day of my amenability hearing, they come in with a plea. They was like, before the hearing, you can take this plea to 3 to 6 months in Iowa or 6 to 9 months indefinite in Ferris. 3 to 6 months in Iowa. Never been to Iowa. I don't know where Iowa is. Ferris, I heard stories about Ferris. Ferris ain't a bad place from what I hear. I can handle 6 months in Ferris. 3 to 6 months in Iowa where I don't know nobody, ain't nobody coming to see me, ain't nobody jumping on the plane, none of that. Or I can take my chance of this amenability here.
Might get trying as an adult.
That part.
Yeah, sending you to Iowa is crazy.
There was 2 other people in there with me at the time that got found amenable. I was the third one. I think it was Boo Boo from the West Side, and somebody else. I think it was Tears or.
So what did you end up doing?
I took the 6 to 9 months Ferris. That ended up being 2 years.
How did end up being 2 years?
They told me just get a neutral.
What does that mean?
Like they got like a grading system. Like if you don't get in no trouble for the week, you get a neutral positive. If you go exceed expectations, like you doing everything and helping people, you get a positive. If you just sliding through, you get a neutral. If you mess up a couple times, you get a neutral negative. If you just doing whatever you want, you get a negative. I was negative every week. I was fighting staff, fighting every week, every week. I mean, because I had authority issue. I'm like, man, you dudes not, nah. And then they was putting their hands on you too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was the type, I knew they was coming. I hear them and try, you know what I mean, get one off because I know they coming. They bloom, slam, you know what I mean? But through all of that, fighting and all that, I never got a neutral, never got a neutral positive, never got a positive. I was on knockoff status. That's what they called it. You just walk around these flip-flops all day. Can't play basketball, can't do nothing. Can't go to the gym, nothing. You just sit on the pod all day. So what I did, I just sat there and read. Did work. So I end up getting my GED there. I got my GED in 97. Got my GED. And once I got my GED, I started going to the behavioral class with some of the people who had like learning disabilities. And I used to sit in there, and the teacher name was Miss Bayon. And I used to sit in there with her and, good evening, lovely gentlemen. Yeah. So I was sitting there with her, and I would tutor some of the guys. Once I got my GED, I would tutor the guys. You know what I mean? And then Bobby Ward, he was the math teacher at Ferris. And he came to me and he was like, hey, man, I'm telling you, baby boy, you got it. That's what we're going to do for you. See, you already got the GED. You ever think about getting a diploma? I'm like, huh? I'm like, yeah. So I go through everything I need to do. You know what I mean? We boom, 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 boom. I get my diploma. So I got my GED and my diploma within a year and a half. And I'm still locked up though, because even though I'm doing all this, I was very intelligent. Even though I'm doing all of this, I'm still getting in trouble. I'm still fighting every day. They like, what's wrong with you? Like, you know what I mean? I'm tutoring people.
Tutoring people in the day, cracking niggas' heads at night.
Yeah. Yo, so when I turned 18, they had to let me go. It was like, they had to let me go. So I think it was like, the 2 days after my 18th birthday, they called me. And they was like, go ahead, man. They just basically kicked me out. And you know what was crazy?
What's that?
I had 8 pair of sneaks. Brand new sneaks. Never got a chance to pick one pair on. They was all, like, people was, like, J-Rod and Bub and them was bringing sneaks up there, but they would never give me my sneaks because I was always on knockoff status.
Wow.
So I got 8 pair of sneaks. I'm walking down Lancaster Ave, bud pull up in a Q45 Infinity. I couldn't get on the phone either.
Yeah.
So I ain't know what was going on out there. You know what I mean? Yeah. I couldn't get on the phone. I couldn't have no visits, and I was not going. It was it.
Yeah.
Man, he pulled up, and I'm like, what's on?
Let me switch gears a little bit. So you got how many children do you have?
5.
Yeah. And at this time, did you have any children?
No.
At that time?
No, I ain't no kids.
Oh yeah. How old were you when you had your first child?
21.
21. Okay. And how did that experience impact your life?
Having a child, man, it's like a feeling. I can't really describe the feeling. It's just like, you know that it's not about you anymore. It's like your natural instinct of protection is like, this is my child. Like, she ain't gonna never go through nothing that I went through, and I'm always gonna do my best to provide and make sure that this child is okay. Mm-hmm. It's like a natural instinct that just, you ever see a dog? Like, I had a dog, right? And dog don't read no books. Dog can't speak, nothing. Dog gets pregnant. Wake up one morning, you seeing the dog having babies. Dog don't know nothing. It's in you, it's natural. The baby come out in a little ball, the placenta. The dog bite it off, clean the baby, bite the umbilical cord. You know what I mean? Sit the baby. It's like, and it was like mesmerizing to see how can this animal that's never seen this done, never done it before, know to do these things.
Right.
It's like they're natural. It's natural instinct. It's in you. So it was like the animal instinct in me, you know, was like, I went straight in protect grind mode. Now it ain't about me no more.
Right.
You know, so, and and all of the stuff that I've been through, now that I look back at it, I'd be pissed because I should have let my kids go through some things, let them experience some things. But because I didn't.
Different experience. Yeah, I get it.
I'm talking about
I get it.
They terrible. But, yeah, the reason, and I always pride myself on trying to be a good parent because I never want my kids to look at me how I looked at my parents. It wasn't hate. It wasn't disrespect. It was more of disgust. Like, you know, I would never disrespect my parents. And, of course, I don't hate my parents. But it was more so I wasn't worth you not getting high. I wasn't, like, you didn't think about, you know what I mean? Because once you get older, it's not about you. And once you have children, once you have children, it's definitely not all about you because you have somebody else, another human who depends on you for everything. Right. So any decision and choice that you make in life, you have to always put their best interest first. You got to remember that, all right, if I do this and this can go this way, who gonna take care of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even after I had my daughter, I was still running wild. Yeah. You know what I mean? When I grew up was when my daughter's mother got killed that day. Because even though you are a parent, you know what I mean, a father, you still know the mother gonna make sure that the child, you still got that.
Got some backup.
Yeah, you got some type of backup. Right. Like, all right, well, you know, I can mess up a little bit. I know she a good mom. She going, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then, you know, grandma, I'm gonna make sure, you know what I mean? But in that situation, my mom was still getting high. My daughter mom just got killed. I just came home from jail. I got to put my big boy boots on. And that's when I got in the union. You know, because she ain't got nobody now. She ain't got her mom to, you know what I mean? Dad can go to jail, but, you know, you live with your mom anyway. But, you know, dad going to make sure you all right, whatever, financially, but he just ain't going to be there physically. Yeah. You know what I mean? His boy's going to come through and make sure you all right financially, you know, but the time, that's one thing that you can't get back. You know what I mean? And mistakes. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. And when you're younger and you go to jail, you think of different ways to come home and get money. You know what I mean? When you're older, for some, and you go to jail, you think of different ways to have a job and get money. All right, I'm going to work, but I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
But when you get to that certain age, you think of ways to still get money, but ain't no foot over here and foot over there. Both feet going to be right here. Ain't none more of that because, I mean, you just got to grow up sometimes, man.
You know, I always equate, I tell people this. I said, you can come out of prison, you know what I mean, or and have a run, you know what I mean. Run is a length of time where you get money and it's not interrupted by, you know what I mean, being incarcerated or whatever. You can have a run. You can come out and do a 5-year run and then go back to jail for a couple of years, you know what I mean, and come back. The reality is, and I, you know, I mean, it took me a while to figure this out. Not like I've been back and forth or whatever. I had one stretch, but the reality is that I've seen people go back and forth and
that one stretch, they did the same amount of time that you did, but then
no, not so much. Yeah,
not the same amount of time, but you know, you might see a Joker come in 3 different times.
Yeah. But you're right about that. The point that stood out to me the most is that these guys, when you come home, a lot of times you got to start back over from scratch because you might have left some things with some people and out of mind, out of sight. You might have left some money, whatever the case may be. And you really, in a lot of cases, people starting from scratch, especially because, you know what I mean, let's just be clear about it. It ain't a whole bunch of, you know what I mean, high profile, heavy. Hold on. Let me finish my point, brother.
Go ahead.
Whole bunch of high profile, heavy hitters out here. People out here surviving working class, middle class level drug dealer type of level, but having to build that shit back up from scratch, as opposed to somebody who just don't even get on that path and just stay, you know what I mean, doing whatever they doing, building, and over time, you're just going to retain it. So long story short, it's just about, to me, I always think about just not having to start over from scratch, not having to get a new house, a new car, a new apartment, new this and all that, and just keep being able to keep and utilize, you know what I mean, the things that you built up, your wealth, if you will, you know what I mean, to continue to propel you forward. So,
you know, I just want to touch on something that you said. You know, when you come home, you got to start from scratch. You know, it was a time, right? It was an era where I'm not going to say it was cool to go to jail, but it was cool to go to jail because you go to jail, you do your year, 2 year, 3 years, 6 months, whatever the case. You know what I mean? You go to jail, lift weights, get your weight up, you come home, you glowing, you shining, you come home, you like a hood superstar for at least 2-3 months. And you fresh out. The saying is fresh out. And some people, you know what I mean, they see you here, man. Oh, man. You know what I mean, huh? So you went to jail, you stood, you know what I mean, you was a stand-up guy, you went to jail, you come home, people that's up, you know what I mean, they're going to look out for you. Now, you go to jail, you stand-up guy, you come home, they look at you crazy. But it's like, it's different.
I do one more than that.
They don't.
A lot of times, people that come home, I've seen it with my own eyes and experience. People get on track and get to moving, and it be niggas out here that's asking this nigga that just did 20 years for some money or help or support. That's the strangest shit I ever seen in my fucking life.
Listen to me, man. Listen to me. I came home, right? I could say at least 6 people. I'm like, yo, what's going on, man? You know what I mean? What you got going? Man, I was waiting on you. Waiting on me? Nigga, y'all just did all Oh, that's what y'all meant. Yo, I'm telling you, I can't. I said all that free money they was giving away. If I was out doing, I'd have been one of them dudes that's in the feds for having like 80 million from running it up, doing the PPPs and all that, and they give me 3-4 years. All right, you know what I mean? All that money they was giving away, man. These jokers ain't got nothing. I'm talking about nothing. I'm at the plumber center looking out for people that was out here the whole time. Y'all been out here all this time. Y'all got all these people, and they ain't send you nothing. They ain't send you nothing. They send you some pictures. They over in Miami. They got Balenciagas on. They got the rentals, and you know what I mean, and chains and all that. The government gave y'all all this free money, and then the scammers taught y'all how to get more free money, and y'all ain't do nothing with it. When a joker tell you when you get out of jail that they been waiting for you to come home, that's a dude that you don't need to be around. At all. He's hitting nowhere. Matter of fact, he's hitting nowhere at all. He ain't even hitting nowhere fast because he just is in the way.
So let me switch gears again. So you made a decision to get with the union. You had your daughter. You know what I mean. How did that decision impact, you know what I mean, the trajectory of your life? You know what I mean. Once you made the decision to kind of, you know, you talked about having one foot on one side, one on the other, when you decided to go down this path, out here working the unions and building up your career from there. How did that impact your life, your personal life, your life and your relationship with your children?
I mean, at first it was like, I didn't like it. I mean, because I was making good money, but I was like, man, I've been doing that. I've been on my feet for 10 hours, man. You know how much money I could have made? But then as you get this, it's like people's opinion of you changes. And somebody might call from jail and be like, hey, yo, what's up with OD? Oh, man, nah, he's just working, man. He over there working on that Christiana Mall bridge. He out the way. He ain't doing nothing. Now I could do something. And as soon as I step that foot over here, come on with us. We knew you'd do it again. And it's like, man, I thought I had it figured out. I thought that just because everybody thought I wasn't doing nothing, I could do something. And now this is at a time after my daughter lost her mother. I'm going back to jail. Now, my only support system for my daughter is my sister, Gert. Hey, man, I need you to step in and take money. I got to go do some time. All right, come on. And and me and my sister talk about this to this day. You should have just let her live with me. You should have just let her stay. Because when I came home, you know what I mean, my ultimate goal was to get my daughter. And then I found out I had another daughter. So now it's get my daughters because my other daughter's mother, she didn't have her life together. You know what I mean? So now I got to get my daughters. So now it's me and my two daughters living on Vanderbilt Avenue at my dad's house. You know what I mean? And now it's time to really, like, get your stuff together. So they would come over, my dad's with me on the weekends, but my daughter was still living with Gert. And started dibbling and dabbling again. Slipped through the cracks. They ran in my dad's house. Police ran in my dad's house. And, he wasn't going for that. And now I'm out of there. I mean, I could go back there, but I don't want to face that music. Yeah. So now I'm sleeping in my car. sleeping in my car. Dibbling and dabbling, sleeping in the car. But I got this girl with me. She with me the whole time. You know what I mean? And, we get our money together and we get a little crib. And I was just thinking, getting a little one-bedroom apartment. Mm-hmm. She was like, well, if you gonna do that, like, ain't nothing. Yeah. You know? Then I get a phone call. Girl talking about, come get your son. All right. Now, my son only 3 months at the time. Mm-hmm. This was the son that I found out on another hum. That's a whole nother story for a whole nother podcast. That was crazy. I'm in the shower. You know, my phone, the day before, my phone fell in the water, and it was drying out in the rice and all that. Mm-hmm. So I go get a little prepaid minute thing and put it in the phone, in one of my old phones, just so I can have a phone. And the phone rung. I'm in the shower, and the girl I'm messing with at the time answered the phone. And the girl like, hey, is this Mike? I told the girl my name was Mike. She was like, Mike, you got the wrong number. I'm in the shower for all this. I get out I'm like, she was like, who Tiana? I'm like, I don't know. What you asking me for? Yeah, she just called. Girl, I ain't had that phone on in 7-8 months. What are you talking about? Well, she just called and asked for Mike. And I remember Mike because that's the name you told me when we first met. And this and this and this. I'm like, I don't know. And she said she got a son and this and this and that. I told her to bring the baby over here because Wait, I don't know nobody named Tiana. And I'm sitting there. I'm confident that I don't know who she, you know what I mean? About an hour go by, 2 hours go by. Now I'm real confident. Man, look at you. You all dumb. I told you somebody playing on the phone out in there. Get up, come down. Bring this little boy in there, man. Little boy look just like me. Ain't that something? I'm like, man. So that's how that happened. Fast forward. Get a phone call. She said, I can't take care of this baby. Come get him. I'm like, what? Come get him from where? What are you talking about? Baby in North Carolina. Me and the girl that I'm with, we jump in her car, drive to North Carolina, pick my son up, and bring him back. And now I got a baby, I got 2 daughters, and I got a woman. But at the time, she was a baby. She was only 19, 20, you know what I mean? But she was a rider, so now I done got a whole family within a week.
Damn.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, so I was going to get the 1-bedroom apartment joint, little condo joint. I'm thinking like, something like, you know what I mean? Yeah. She's like, no. We need to get us a 3-bedroom house. You got kids. What, you just going to keep letting your daughter live over Riverside and your other daughter live with her and she ain't right? And what about him? I'm like, man. So, and she's younger than me, but her maturity level and her mindset at the time made me think a whole different way. Right. You know what I mean? A good woman, behind every good man is a good woman, a greater woman. And I can honestly say that. Even though me and this woman ain't together no more, she taught me more than I could ever teach her. She taught me about family. Yeah. And all right, well, man, when I tell you, it's crazy because she didn't have no kids. 20 years old, in college. No kids, working at the airport. Just like that, she got 3. And when I say she got 3 is because she's 20, my daughter's is like 6. My son is 3 months. And she's instantly a mother. And she's taking care of all of these kids at 20. Wow. I'm talking about, and I still was dibbling and dabbling. I'm talking about all the way up to these kids graduate high school. She didn't have no kids. She couldn't carry kids because her cervix was tilted. So she was pregnant a couple of times, and right. So the last time she got pregnant, once she got to the point where the baby, where she normally lose the baby, they put her in the hospital on bed rest with her feet like up, and she had my daughter, Kinsley. And she got pregnant again. She had King. But I say all this to say, before she didn't have Kinsley until 2014. That's when she had Kinsley. So for about 8 years, she ain't had no kids. Just my 3 Rugrats. And she took care of them like they was hers and still do to this day.
That's what's up.
I'm talking about it's crazy, man.
Damn, shout out to good moms, man.
Yeah, I'm talking about.
Shout out to good moms, man.
At 20, I can't see me messing with a woman as a man at 20 years old, taking care of another nigga's 3 kids like they my own at 20, not going out, not partying because she's out partying, she's in Miami, but I'm home with his 3 kids and I don't got no kids of my own. But he in Miami, he in Puerto Rico, he here, he there, he doing all of this, but I'm home with his kids and I don't got none of my own, and I'm 20. Come on, man. So yeah, I tilt my hat to her.
Yeah. So now, how old are you now?
44.
44. Right.
44.
Where you see yourself going at? What has this life taught you about being a father? About being a man?
I'm a pop-pop. I'm pop-pop now.
Pop.
Yeah. Pop-pop.
Congratulations.
Congrats, man.
Man, I'm sick of them. This morning, pop. That's all you hear. Yeah,
That's
but
a beautiful thing.
Yeah, but yeah, man. It's just for me. My only goal in this life is to build some type of generational wealth, and to live according. Try to live, because nobody is perfect, to try to live according to my religion. Mm-hmm. So then when I do pass on, it'll be a good chance for me to make it to paradise. But I just want to, be remembered as a good father, a good man, and I want to be able to leave something, like the DuPonts and I want to build generational wealth. I want to be able to say, when I leave, my dad left this for us. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be all sitting around, and my lawyer, you know what I mean? I got a will, and they like, well, you get the beach house in Florida, and, he leaves his shares to his company, to you, and when you turn, he said you had to graduate college first. You know what I mean? That type of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I want generational wealth. Yeah. That's what it's about. You know what I mean? I want to eventually own my own traffic control business. It's coming though. I just, yeah, man. I'm at an age right now where anything that I put my mind to, I can do. Yeah. Because I know my strength, I know my weaknesses, and I know that I could do anything I want to do. I could be anything that I want to be. I could do anything I want to do. All I got to do is focus and put my mind to it, and I can accomplish any goal that I set forth and put in front of myself, because I have that much confidence in the person that I am, and I've been through so much, and I've learned. See, people will look at my story and say that I had a hard life, but I look at my story and say, I learned, I conquered, I made it, because I done seen all aspects of the game where my friends are dead, in jail, on drugs, and I got a plan for me, because I don't know what that was. We ain't gonna get into that. Anyway,
Allah got a plan.
Allah has a plan for me, because it says, if you're still alive, you haven't lived the best part of your life, or you haven't fulfilled your meaning what you're put on this earth to do. Yeah. So I say that to say I still haven't lived the best part of my life yet. Yeah. So it's more to come.
Yeah, I agree.
Bet you do. You're still making them.
So, or you got any more questions?
No, I don't have any more questions.
Well, listen, brother, we want to thank you, man, for coming on here, taking the time to come on here and share with us, man. Everything that you share. We was just talking before you came in. We don't take it lightly. You know, what I mean, people sharing their life experiences and stuff like that with us. So we appreciate that. I love you.
I love you.
I'm glad to see you, man. I'm glad to see you growing, man. I'm glad to see you still around, man, and just growing into the man, like you said, that God will have you to be, brother. So
what don't kill you make you stronger, man. It ain't where you come from or how you grew up. It's once you're able to fend for yourself, and start making decisions, life-altering decisions,
mm-hmm.
you know, you can come up out of it, man. Yeah. Only the strong survive, man.
Yeah. Well, again, man, thank you, man. And my name is Coley Harris.
And I'm Amar Melton.
And thank you for listening to Missing Dad.